Many years ago, in the old town of Akure, Femi met Bunmi while looking for a job. They both attended a job interview together. Bunmi got the job, but Femi didn't. Instead, Femi got a letter saying, "Do not call us, we would call you." That made Femi continue to do job hunting for another 5 months. Finally, a company gave him a letter of employment. Femi went to see Bunmi during her lunch break and immediately announced, "Bunmi, I got the job. I am so happy. How shall we celebrate it?" Bunmi said, "Wow, I am excited for you. Really, really happy." Yeah, talk about celebration. It's a Friday, so after work today, let's get to our usual joint and celebrate. I am so happy. I have been praying for you, Femi. God has answered my prayers. Thank you, Lord. In 2 years, their friendship got deeper. It blossomed. They knew each other well and met each other's families, both nuclear and extended. On a bright June weekend, they had their wedding that was the talk of the town for weeks. They had many guests from their places of work, their schools, families, friends. The church was packed full of guests. The reception too was like that and full of gifts. They did everything together. Soon they put their bank accounts together. They were able to buy a Toyota Corolla, and that was quite a big step for them. They would come back from work and cook together. Sometimes Femi would say, "My boom boom, just go and rest. Let me fix you something special." He would go to the kitchen and in a short while bring out hot special jollof rice, the old way his grandma taught him many years ago. They would eat happily. By the 8th month into their marriage, Bunmi took in. Femi knew well to pamper Bunmi. Everything he did was for Bunmi's comfort. He would drive her to work and pick her from work. Antenatal was arranged for Saturdays for both of them to go together. One day, Bunmi said, "Sweetheart, we need to start buying things for the baby." Femi said, "Yes, it's time, but are we buying for a boy or for a girl?" Bunmi said, "I don't know. We have no way of knowing. I think we could buy for both male and female. A little here, a little there." "Yeah, sweetie, you're right," Femi said. Soon it was the 9th month and time for the arrival of the baby. The moment she felt some contractions, they headed to the general hospital. Bunmi's maternity leave started the week earlier. At the hospital, while contractions kept increasing, Femi was pacing up and down restlessly. Finally, a kind older matron told Femi, "Son, you should go home because the baby would likely come early tomorrow morning. I have just checked her. The progress is okay, though a bit slow, but she's fine and the baby is fine too." Femi looked into her face to be sure she knows what she's talking about. Then he said, "All right, ma. Could I come by 6 a.m. tomorrow?" Matron said 7 a.m. is better. 7 a.m. Tuesday, Femi arrived to the hospital. Bunmi had put to bed a lovely baby boy, very fair. Femi was happy when the matron announced the arrival of the baby to him. Then in a short while, he was allowed to go see the mother and the baby. He hugged Bunmi in joy. Boom boom! He hugged and kissed her. Also kissed the baby. But he immediately felt somehow at the way the baby looked. He held himself and held his words. By the 3rd day, it was obvious that the baby was an albino. Femi Femi was very cross at that. He was really upset. His countenance showed his displeasure to all. Finally, he braced up and asked Bunmi, "Bunmi, whose baby is this?" Bunmi was visibly shocked at the question. However, she said, "Our baby, your baby, my baby." "Why?" "There's no such skin color in my entire family roundabout. I have had to make consultations," Femi said. "My parents are late, okay, but I have uncles who said that it's not in our lineage." "Bunmi, like you were sleeping with other guys? This is certainly not my baby. You need to tell me the truth. I am so disappointed in you." Bunmi was shocked and started weeping. She tried to talk, feeling embarrassed and insulted. Femi told her to shut up with a sternness Bunmi had never known. By the fourth day, Femi didn't come to the hospital. Instead, someone brought an envelope of money and gave Bunmi that it's from Femi. She wondered why he didn't come. The fifth day, they were discharged from the hospital, but Femi wasn't anywhere to be found. Bunmi was confused. Finally, her only sister came to help her and they took a taxi back to their house. The door was open. They got in and the house was clean, as in no property, nothing, just her clothes were left here and there, plus the few clothes for the baby. That began a painful journey for Bunmi and Dami. Bunmi spent the rest of her maternity leave weeping, praying, and thinking of what next. Femi cleared not only the house but also their joint account. He emptied it. But for the money he sent through that stranger, she had no extra money. She also received a court notice that Femi had divorced her. He also left his job and was nowhere in Akure. Her boss was particularly nice to her and gave her an extra week to enable her settle the issue of her baby and child minder. Her auntie would come from Osogbo to help since her own mom was a very busy school principal in Ile-Ife. She finally started work and tried to keep up with her normal job responsibilities. The more she tried, the more she was lagging behind. She toyed with the idea of resignation, but how would she cope financially? How would she get a new job with a new baby to care for? The cards were stacked against her. Bunmi kept pushing. One day her boss asked her to go out with him for lunch during their lunch break. He needed to know why she was underperforming. She accepted. During the lunch, she told her story, weeping. Mr. Peterside understood and consoled her. From that point, he became particularly nice to her, asking often after Dami. Then he began to visit. He would take Dami and Bunmi out, especially at the weekends. Bunmi and 3 other colleagues were to go to Lagos for 1-week training. The childminder auntie had gone back to Osogbo because her husband suddenly took ill. And the training is from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. How to handle Dami was just a big issue. She went to Mr. Peterside and said, "Sir, I don't even know what to do with Dami. Sending him to my sister would have been a good option, but he's only 3 and my sister is very busy and all her kids are in boarding schools now." Before she could land, Mr. Peterside said, "Bunmi, could I have him for the week? I have 2 good domestic staff who would take care of him while I'm at work. I will take over from them as soon as I come back from work." Bunmi was very happy and Dami was happy too because this uncle has always been nice to him. By the time Bunmi came back and Mr. Peterside returned to Dami, she heard Dami say, "Daddy, when are we going to see the elephant again?" Bunmi was taken aback, but not Peterside. Peterside bent low and said, "Dami dear, it's when mommy allows us." And he said goodbye and left. Bunmi's relationship with her boss was getting better and deeper, but she knew enough to be discreet about it. Office is office, not a place for friendship or romance. This went on for the next 1 year. It was Bunmi's birthday, and it didn't look as if anything was going to happen for her this time around. She got to work that morning, and members of staff all stood holding bunches of balloons for her as she walked in, singing, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Bunmi, happy birthday to you." Peterside was not anywhere. Bunmi was wondering why he wasn't there. Next, from the back walked in Mr. Peterside, carrying a cake. He placed it on a table right there. Bunmi cut the cake and hit a hard metal object. She was advised by her colleagues to pull out whatever it was. They were all excited. She did, and it was a diamond ring. Peterside was already on his knee, received the ring from her, and slipped it into her finger. In 3 months, they had a quiet wedding. They had 2 more children and were all very happy. Bunmi could feel and see the hot love Peterside had for her and their children, Dami being the first. Dami grew into a brilliant, responsible child, and it happened that his own albino traits got subdued as he grew older. He was very fair, alright, but couldn't even be described as an outright albino. Peterside did his research and bought creams that could keep his skin cool and in the right healthy state always. After many years, Dami had entered the university. Femi traced their house and knocked at the gate. Bunmi came out and found Femi at the gate, carrying a rubber bag and looking like a beggar, dejected. He said he came to beg for forgiveness, that he told his grandma 10 years ago about the albino baby. And the woman said, "What's wrong with your skin color? My own grandfather was a complete albino. What's wrong with having an albino baby?" Bunmi said, "Oh, really? Sorry. Too late. I have moved on, and we are all happy. You should move on too. Goodbye." There were no DNA tests then. What would you do if this happens to you? Either as Femi or as Bunmi? What advice do you have for the likes of Femi in our day? What advice do you have for Bunmi? Does the skin color of a baby really matter? It's important that two people who love each other trust each other. Please leave your comments below. Also, please encourage us to roll out more life stories by clicking the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell. Also, please share this with your friends and family. Until our next video, goodbye.